Hey everybody, welcome to today's show. Welcome to Equality and Rights for All. I'm your host, Anthony Lorito-Duke, and we have two great topics for today's show in which they are Meisha Ross Porter is the new school chancellor of the New York City Department of Education. And the second topic is as much as New York State Governor did lots of great things, he also did lots of wrong things as well. Now let's get right into the first topic. Um, Meisha Ross Porter is the new school chancellor of the New York City Department of Education, and I think I forgot if it was done this week or early. I'm sorry, or sometime last week that the old school chancellor stepped down, and we got a new one that stepped in, and I wish Meisha Ross Porter all the luck in the world. She's got a lot of work uh, to do, and I think she's an excellent person for this position. Uh, she worked as a teacher. She knows the school system, so she's a perfect person for the job. And she's got a lot of work ahead of her because there's a lot of work that needs to be done to fix the New York City Department of Education system. And so, again, I wish her all the luck in the world regarding this. And I know that she can get the job done. And um, so, uh, good luck to her. And now let's get into the second topic. Actually, before we get into the second topic, getting right back into the first topic, one of the very important things in order to help fix uh, the education problem right now with the schools and everything, one big chunk of that, because I hear a lot of people saying that they want the schools to reopen and stuff like that. In order for that to get done properly, okay, because I know there's a lot of people out there that are tired of the virtual schooling at home, to go online and stuff like that, and I understand that. But in reality, you got to be thankful that you have that. I mean, really. And that can help later on down the line too. But before we even get into that, one of the things that really needs to be done is to get the teachers vaccinated. And yes, all the students need to be vaccinated too. In which one of the things that's going to have to be done is in order for your child to get to be able to be back in school face to face, like in the classroom, they're going to have to prove that they got vaccinated. Same thing is going to have to go for teachers. I mean, let's think about it. They are frontline workers too. Okay. And, there's already issues like with safety and stuff like that with school because, before this COVID thing happened, there was guns being brought into schools. Schools were being shot up and stuff like that. And we can't have that. So, um, but the next step is all the teachers have to be vaccinated in order for them to return back to work to be in the schools teaching. And unfortunately, there's a lot of people who keep saying that they're not going to get vaccinated, in which they believe that the vaccines are against their religious beliefs and whatever else. And to me personally, that's a ridiculous reason. And because you're jeopardizing not only your own health, but you're jeopardizing the health and lives of many other co-workers, staff, and children. Okay, and I would say in order to really resolve that issue, if they're going to refuse to get vaccinated fully to be able to return to teaching in the schools, then those teachers should be left to saying, you know what, you guys have to do the virtual teaching. You can't be in the schools teaching. You can't afford to have that problem. You can't put everybody else's life in jeopardy. So if you want to, use a religious belief or whatever else in order to not get vaccinated, then they need to be uh, staying at home, teaching virtually, okay, and only let the teachers that get fully vaccinated be able to go back into the schools to teach in person, okay? And for those parents out there who refuse to get their child vaccinated for whatever reason, then those kids cannot be allowed in the schools, jeopardizing the life and health of other people, including other children. And those children have to be left at home to learn from home, point blank. And if the parents complain, well, my child has anxiety problems, they can't stay home, or whatever, then get your effing children vaccinated. That's all there is to it, point blank. That's it. End of story. You don't get your child vaccinated, they're not allowed back in school, be in person. Honestly. And many of these same people were using their religion, religious beliefs to not get their children vaccinated just for the flu. You know, if people remember a few years ago, people were saying, I'm not going to get my child vaccinated because it's against our religious beliefs. Well, if you're going to use that crap now, especially not to get them vaccinated for the COVID, then whether you like it or not, your child can't be back in school to learn in person, and that's it. Point blank. That's it. End of story. So all the kids need to be vaccinated. They need to show the proof they got the vaccines. Same thing with the teachers and the rest of the staff. If you want to be back in school, for the schools to open, you want to be in person learning and all that stuff, you got to show the proof that you got fully vaccinated. And that's it. End of story. Now we can get into the second topic. As much as New York State Governor did lots of great things for New York, he also did lots of wrong things too. You know, uh, Governor Cuomo got New York through Hurricane Sandy. He got New York through the COVID, really, if you think about it. He pushed for marriage equality. So many great things he did throughout his time in office. And I'm not saying he's a sweet angel, and I'm not saying that he's perfect or whatever. And yes, he did lots of wrong things too, in which I call him out on it. And uh, just to name two things off the top of my head that he did wrong was uh, clearly with the nursing home situation that I'm sure everybody has heard about. And um, so that was one thing. And the bail reform law, that was a complete disaster. I understand why he did it. I understand his reasoning, but the way that he went about it, the law that he created, the way that he created things was a complete disaster. It caused a major fiasco. And it was actually letting criminals back onto the street committing the same crimes over again. So that needs to definitely go back to the drawing board, in which, as I said, if for pretty much anything else, it's both sides of the aisle have to come to the table, lay out all the cards, okay, and um, both sides have to come to a mutual uh, understanding and a mutual agreement in which both sides can get at least some things of what they want, and because not everybody's going to get everything that they want all of the time. And it's not to just be one-sided in which just one side gets everything, the other side doesn't get anything. And people need to listen and hear each other out. seriously, what was his real reasoning for creating the messed up bail reform law? Is because of the racial injustice that's within the criminal justice system, within the court system, within the bailing system, and so on and so forth. It's a lot of inequality and injustice. And so, even though there may be a lot of people out there who may say that that's all BS and whatever, it's not. And if it's, and but on the other side of the coin, with the messed up bail reform law, like I said, it's letting criminals back out onto the street to commit the same major crimes all over again. And so this really needs to go back to the drawing board. And uh, so honestly, and I'll give you a perfect example of how many criminals that got caught. Like, some of them got caught physically attacking another innocent person, and then these criminals got caught. They got arrested by the police, and by the next day they were back out. Seriously. Um, like one, for an instance, I think it was sometime last year that this guy pushed down this elderly woman or something like that within the streets of New York City and in one of the boroughs there, and police came, they arrested him, and then before you twist and turn, he was back out to the street. The guy was home. The guy that committed the crime, yeah, he was homeless and all this other stuff, and he had a record the size of Texas. I mean, you know what? Even scratch that. He had a record the size of the United States from coast to coast. And they let him out because of the messed up bail reform system. So this stuff has to be addressed. It has to be corrected. It's got to go back to the drawing board. Okay. And, you know, it needs to be fixed. And um, maybe soon the nursing home situation will be investigated and stuff like that. Uh, but Governor Cuomo did admit to the wrongdoing regarding that, and but whatever else, innocent until proven guilty. That's the law of the land of this of uh United States. So if an investigation happens into that, then then we could take that from there. Now, as far as for any of the scandals, that's going on against Governor Cuomo, um, there is an investigation being done into that, and again, innocent until proven guilty in this country, and we gotta wait to see what happens, see what the outcome of that is. And I'm not calling anybody a liar or whatever. Um, but a couple of things that I want to say to that is, to me, it's just odd that these three women that made the allegation against Governor Cuomo, sexual harassment or whatever, you know, they waited so many years to come out about this. To me, that right there seems odd. And they're coming out with these allegations just practically, just a year before the next New York State governor elections. Doesn't that seem odd to anybody? And the other thing that I want to add to that is, um, if people remember the all the women that made complaints against Trump for sexual uh, harassment or whatever it was, and there was that whole situation that was going on while Trump was in office, and Nothing ever happened to Trump really about that. He never quit. I mean, people were uh, rallying for him to resign from office. He never resigned. He completed his term, right? And then he left office. So, I mean, really, I mean, you had like, I don't know if it was 12 women or 15 women or something like that within that ballpark that made all these complaints against Trump for, the sexual allegation or whatever. And these women were credible. They gave their testimony or whatever. And so, I think that this is kind of like in retaliation somehow. I'd like to see that within this investigation that's currently going on with these, regards to the sex scandal against Governor Cuomo. I'd like to see if the uh, the people, whoever is investigating the situation, I'd like them to see um, if these three women got paid to step up now, or and why all of a sudden now years later they're coming out with these allegations. And so, that's what I would investigate. And again, I'm not calling anybody a liar. It's just, it's odd that all this is happening right around this time and years later. So, again, we all got to wait till the investigations are complete, and then we'll see what happens from there. Personally, even though there's a lot of people from both sides of the aisle that are requesting for Cuomo to resign and whatever, personally, this is just my personal feelings. I don't think that he should resign. Let's wait to see what happens at the end of the investigations. And then when it comes to next year, personally, I think that after all that Cuomo did to really help New York, I don't think he should run for reelection. I think that he should say, you know what? I helped New York through Hurricane Sandy. I helped New York through COVID. I helped through all these great things. I just need to step away now and then to just be with my family and um and stuff like that. That's my own personal belief, you know. So that way, um, he can really leave on a good note. Personally, that's my own personal feelings. But you know, uh, I really got a feeling that if he does decide to run for reelection again next year, that the nursing home situation is really going to come back to backfire on him. The bail reform situation is going to come back to backfire on him. Even with all the good things that he has done throughout his time in office, the people that are going to run against him, they're not going to look at and congratulate him for all the good things that he's done. They're going to go after him for the bad things and whatever. And um, I just see that it's an uphill battle for him to get uh, past the nursing home situation and the bail reform law. So I mean, if it was me personally, I would just be like, listen, I'm not going to run for reelection. I'm just going to complete my term, and then at the end, you know, uh, to wish everybody goodbye, and then move on. Kind of like what Trump did at the end of his term, right? So be it with the same thing for Cuomo, really. But just personally, I think that this is the way that Cuomo should do it. I would if I was in his shoes. And even though there's no term limits for uh for the governor of New York, I would I mean again, my own personal opinion, I would not run for re-election. I would just leave on a good note and just say now is the time that I want to be with my family. And let whoever else is going to run for for governor of New York. May the best person win. So that's the way that I see things. But anyways, after I'm done hosting this episode of this show, I will host another episode of my show, Advocate Information Highway, on YouTube. And I want to remind all my fans out there, uh, don't forget to go to my website with my business. And the link to there is awldny.com. You guys could check out all the pages on there. And so with that, take care, everybody. Bye.